Let's talk about the Jester. You know the one. The comedian, the entertainer, the person who makes us laugh so hard we can't breathe. But what if that laughter is, well, more than just a reaction to a joke? What if, hiding inside that punchline, is a really profound, and sometimes dangerous, truth? That's what we're going to get into. The Jester's light and the huge shadow it casts. You know that feeling, right? That nervous laugh when a comedian gets a little too close to a taboo subject. It's this weird mix of shock and, oh man, they said it. That uncomfortable space, that's exactly where the Jester lives and works. So why do they get a pass to say things no one else can? And why do we feel this strange kind of relief when they do? This question, right here, is the key to understanding the Jester's incredible power and their secret weakness. This really just nails it. They aren't just telling jokes to amuse us, they are social provocateurs. Their whole job is to hold up a mirror to society, to our culture, even to us, and point out all the ridiculous things we've just silently agreed to ignore. They basically have a license to operate in that gray area between what we all say out loud and what we're all secretly thinking. Okay, so let's start our little parable where the Jester feels most at home, on stage. Picture it. You've got the bright lights, the roar of the crowd, this electric energy in the air. This is the Jester's kingdom. It's a world built entirely on wit and timing. And out here, their public persona, that charming, clever truth-teller, is king. And everybody absolutely loves them for it. So, psychologically, what's really going on here? Well, the Jester's power comes from their ability to be a kind of bridge. On one side of this bridge, you've got what we call the structured ego. That's our polite, predictable, everyday self that plays by the rules. But on the other side, you've got the wild, unintegrated unconscious, all the chaotic, messy, forbidden thoughts we try to keep buried. The Jester doesn't just walk across that bridge. They dance on it, connecting these two worlds for everyone to see. And these are the tools they use to do it. They're like a pressure release valve for the whole group, right? They expose hypocrisy. They say the truths we're all thinking but are way too scared to say ourselves. They entertain, for sure, but by reflecting the tribe back to itself, they're also doing something vital for society. It's a really delicate balance, though, like walking a tightrope between brilliant insight and just being insulting. But what happens when the Jester falls? What happens when that mask slips and the darkness backstage starts to spill out onto the stage? Because every single performer has a backstage, right? It's that place where the lights are dim, the makeup comes off, and the raw, unfiltered truth comes out. And in the Jester's backstage, there is a shadow lurking. This is where our story takes a much darker turn, as we venture into the unacknowledged parts of the Jester's own mind. This table really shows you the deep conflict going on inside the Jester. Now, in Jungian psychology, the shadow is basically all the parts of ourselves we push down or deny. It's so important to get this. The shadow isn't automatically evil. It's just the stuff we haven't acknowledged. But for the Jester, whose whole identity is built on being likable and clever, their shadow often holds some pretty intense stuff, like a secret desire to just burn it all down, to use mockery as a weapon, and to give in to this cynical belief that deep down, nothing really matters. And this is where it gets really dangerous. The Jester's special ability to see how absurd the world is, it comes from being really familiar with this inner darkness. They dip into that well of cynicism for their material. The risk isn't in having a shadow. Hey, we all do. It's in being possessed by it, in starting to believe that its nihilistic whisper is the whole truth. So when the Jester loses that internal battle, when the shadow grabs the steering wheel, it doesn't just hide in the wings anymore. It steps right into the spotlight, and it takes on some very specific and very destructive new forms. The Jester then has to face the very demons that have been fueling their comedy all along. First, the shadow shows up as the trickster. And this isn't just playful mischief we're talking about. This is a primitive, remorseless urge to create chaos just for the sake of it. Humor stops being a tool for connection. It becomes a weapon of cruel mockery, designed to wound people, not to heal them. This is the Jester's shadow in its purest form, a force of pure, unfiltered disruption that just loves to watch the fallout. Another face of the shadow is what's called the puer aeternus, or the eternal child. This is the part of the Jester that just refuses to grow up. It's terrified of commitment, of responsibility, so it hides from anything serious behind a wall of jokes. This eternal child is convinced that if the laughter ever stops, the crushing weight of reality will just become unbearable. And that fear of growing up, that's what fuels the trickster's need for chaos. It's all just one big distraction from a life of quiet desperation. So if these two shadow aspects are left unchecked, they trap the Jester in this vicious cycle. They can't take anything seriously, especially themselves, and their clever wit just turns into pure ridicule. They become a hollow vessel, their life completely empty of meaning outside of the performance. They just destroy connection wherever they go. But is that the end of the story? Is the jester doomed to a life of hollow laughter? Thankfully, the answer is no, because even in the darkest corners of our minds, there is always a path back to the light. Now, it's not an easy path. In fact, for the jester, it is the most difficult and most important journey they will ever take, the path to wholeness. This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? How does the jester escape this prison they've built for themselves? How do they turn the very shadow that's threatening to destroy them into their greatest source of strength and wisdom? The journey back is basically a 3-step process. It's a dance with the darkness that takes enormous courage. First, they have to look in the mirror and actually acknowledge their own capacity for cruelty, to finally admit it's not just a joke. Second, they have to face the deep sadness and emptiness that their constant humor was designed to mask. And only then can they do the final, almost magical step, transforming the shadow's raw, destructive energy into a powerful source of creativity. And the transformation is, wow, it's profound. The jester who hasn't integrated their shadow uses humor like a shield, to hide their vulnerability and deflect pain. But the integrated jester, their humor becomes a surgical tool. It's used with precision and with compassionate wisdom, not to push people away, but to cut through all the nonsense and create genuine, shared insight. And when the jester finally completes this really tough journey, something truly remarkable happens. Their laughter, which was once a weapon or a defense mechanism, becomes an act of liberation, not just for them, but for everyone who hears it. And this is the real secret to their transformation. They don't get rid of the darkness, they integrate it. Because they face their own shadow, they can now look at all the world's hypocrisy and absurdity without being completely consumed by cynicism. They become a kind of spiritual guide, a wise healer who uses comedy to lead us all through the shadows, because they know the way. Their ultimate gift is mastering what Jung called the transcendent function, this amazing ability to hold two opposite ideas at the same time. It's like they've learned to see the world in 3D. They get that life isn't light or dark, it's a rich tapestry of both. They see that order and chaos, seriousness and silliness, they aren't enemies. They're just two sides of the same cosmic joke. And realizing that, well, that's true freedom. The jester's journey teaches us all a really profound lesson. True wisdom and true joy isn't found by trying to avoid pain. It's found by embracing the full, messy, contradictory range of what it means to be human. The path to enlightened laughter, ironically, runs right through our own sorrow. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What is it that makes you laugh? Especially those moments of nervous, uncomfortable laughter. What hypocrisy, what fear, what hidden truth is your own laughter trying to point out to you? Because in that fleeting little chuckle, there just might be a profound message from your own inner jester, just waiting for you to understand it.